The New Testament, Gospel number 3, Luke's decree. Find chapter 15, and here's what you do. Start at verse 11, stop at 32. The Son, the one, the prodigal kind, nothing but frivolity and fun on his mind, inheritance, in a sense, sitting gathering dust, grieving a tradition, stipulating he must wait for the date the old man would croak, but his wait for the estate had him borderline broke. Discontent, he'd circumvent the rules he'd come to resent, demanding a percent, asking Pop to consent, and off he went, content, on a sinful descent. Prodigal, defined as recklessly extravagant. Meanwhile, back at the homestead, playing it straight, is the other, the prodigal's older brother, the one who towed the line, hero child, predisposed to thrive and shine, the one who always seems fine, the one we never malign, the one who fantasizes his humanity divine, slaving for his pop, never disobeying, tending to the fields instead of running and playing. One brother leaving, the other one staying. Question is, what's this ancient tale really saying? Good son good, bad son bad, challenging financial choices for their dad? Is this all we see? Can it be we agree these three represent just a couple generations on the family tree, battling the bane of codependency? It might be just that simple if this were just a story, but it's not. It's a parable, an allegory. Furthermore, when considering the depth of a tale, when deciding how much weight to give to every detail before one goes and trusts what he originally sees, he might just ask the question, hey, whose words are these? It might be worth a second look, either now or later, if you come to know that both the writer and the narrator are the perfect holy will of our one Creator. So I'm guessing there's a lesson about our spiritual condition with a more expansive view of all the characters' positions. So let's see. Younger boy, the generator of the schism, he's 3 feet deep inside a world of hedonism, drinking, chilling in a house of ill repute, already took a shot at every prostitute. The selfish pursuit of his chosen route ain't bearing no fruit, running out of loot, life dropping like a rock down the laundry chute. He's tending hogs for a living filthy and smelly, no food to feed his own belly, bereavement and fear pulsing in his chest, feeding pods to the pigs he couldn't even digest, no rest for the weary. But as he lay there at the bottom, he was struck with a theory. My pop pays his servants more than I'm making here. I think my path is clear. While I forfeited the right to ever be his child, I can't take another minute out here in the wild. I'm defiled. I'll prostrate myself, and I'll humbly plead. I'll confess my deeds. I'll amend my greed. I'll beg for the food and shelter that I desperately need. He came slinking down the road with his head hung low, feeling a world of shame that he disgraced his name, anticipating Dad casting rightful blame. But he didn't. There he stood, waiting hopefully, that cresting over the hill his baby boy he'd see, for he'd been waiting every day since his child left, praying silently with a heart bereft. And at the vision of his son, he broke into a run, screaming to his servants to prepare a feast. Take the fatted calf and straight up slaughter that beast. The boys' I'm sorry's fell on deaf ears as Dad's kisses pierced their way through his cascading tears. Robes draped the boy's shoulders, on his finger a ring, sandals on his feet, the treatment of a king. No punishment, no judgment, no admonishment, no rage, no feelings from the past the boy's return could not assuage. His brother, on the other hand, well, that's another story. As he watched his wayward sibling granted scads of glory, fuming to his father, any justice has been done. You ignore your loyal son who has never left your side. How I've tried to make you proud. He just took your money, and through it all he burned, yet I'm the one who spurned. But your brother, he's returned. I thought him dead, said the father, but look, he lives, the warmth to me this gives, his voice a joyful sound. He was lost, but now he's found. So something seems amiss. This design is quite askew. I'd say it's right side downward, nearly backward, wouldn't you? The one who follows dutifully, spinning in frustration, while the sinner, who is broken, gets a lavish celebration and salvation. But the outcome I would offer might not look so absurd if we reconsider who it was who granted us the words. Who is it that scorns the prideful? Who is it who saves the weak? Who is it with no guile? Who is it that is meek? See, our fatherly protagonist whose love just could not fail, is the same one who did author and narrate our fine tale. It's God who gives the money. It's God who lets him fall. It's God who awaited his return. It's God who forgave all. And his sons, the very ones that we sit here and discuss, both the one who slunk back humbled and the one who made a fuss, they're us. And the central question we must ask ourselves, though to avoid it we may try, the younger or the older, which one am I? Am I the younger boy, the prodigal? Have I tried and have I failed? Has my self-will come up empty? Have I begged and cried and wailed? Am I the tax collector, leper, adulteress, prostitute? Have I hung my head and hit my knees completely destitute? If so, the Father sees you and the bond that has been severed and invites you to the party where you'll dwell with him forever. But the older boy, the one enacting dutiful behavior, the one who thinks his actions will be enough to win God's favor, well, he doesn't need a savior. He's got it all together. He always just does what he should. He's got righteousness figured out. He's holy, man. He's good. He doesn't need God's help. Instead, he's chosen abdication. Although, you might take notice, he stays outside the celebration. He's blind to what his brother sees sin not as his disease. He's spun 180 degrees. He won't fall to his knees. He's in a spiritual deep freeze. He's no different than the Pharisees. Prodigal, a word used in the negative when understood loosely, alternately can mean the act of giving profusely. It has multiple definitions, which are hardly redundant. It can also be defined as something lavishly abundant. There's a price, of course, and it must be paid. Our collective sin must be laid down to wear the crown. But the payment ain't obeying the rules of the law. It ain't sticking by your paw. It ain't feeding pods to the pigs in the mud. It's blood of the Son, the only Son that counts, the one unjustly hung on Calvary's mount. It's really a trip. In fact, it may seem quite odd that our prodigal story was scribed by our prodigal God.